Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. Welcome to today's video. I thought I'd do a little Q&A because I had some questions on my previous videos that I haven't yet answered, so I figured I'd answer them here. And I just finished lunch. This is like over half of a watermelon. I have a few pieces left in there, but I'm pretty full, so that is part of today's video as well, is how to achieve your ideal body weight when you're following this diet, you're following a healthy diet, high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan diet, and you still need to lose less 5 pounds, 10 pounds, you're having trouble losing weight at all. So this is kind of going to be a troubleshooting video for that. So, 2 questions that I had that I haven't answered yet on my videos. One was from Cycling Slim, Craig, and it was in regards to why I switched from adding refined sugar to eating whole foods. And he has recently done the same. So basically, I was really enjoying having a lot of refined sugar and more like processed snacks and everything. But I noticing that the more sugar I added to my smoothies, I started actually getting a little nauseous after having them. And I was finding, and I've talked about this in previous videos, that I was able to do a lot because I had a lot of energy, but I didn't have enough time to recover after expending all that energy. And I think too, like, a lot of it just comes down to I was eating more processed foods, and I need to be eating more whole foods for my body to feel its best. So what I've noticed since switching is I'm sleeping better. I have good energy and it's sustained, and I'm resting better. So overall my energy is better. It's more like balanced. And I think that that's what it really comes down to, because I definitely don't want to dog on processed foods. I do think there is a place for them in a healthy diet. My children eat processed foods, especially for children. They are more concentrated in their caloric density, processed foods are. And for children who have smaller stomachs and they, expend a lot of energy, processed foods are going to have a place there. So usually with my kids, about half of their diet is whole foods, and then half of their diet is, processed foods like grains and little snacks and juices and things like that. That's what I mean by processed. Yeah. So anyways, I think too, like, I'm getting more nutrition, because I actually swapped out white rice too for potatoes and more vegetables, and I'm just eating more dates. So like calorie wise, maybe my calories have gone down a little bit, but I feel like I'm eating more intuitively, and I'm stopping when I'm eating when I'm hungry, and I'm stopping when I'm full, and I'm focusing on whole foods, not because they're lower in caloric density, they just happen to be, but they're also full of nutrition. And so it's kind of like I want to get the biggest bang for my buck when I'm putting something in my mouth. Getting what I need from my food in order to feel and function my best. And I've done this a few times where I've changed up my diet and everything, and I'm usually doing it because I'm doing what makes me feel my best. I think you can only go so long trying to follow someone else's plan or program until you have to really figure out what works best for you. And the only way you're going to do that is by listening to your body. So I actually, before I eat something, my body will say, hey, eat that. Hey, don't eat that. That's not what we want right now. This is what we want right now. This is the quantity that we want right now. And you just have to follow those signals because your body does give them to you. And I feel like when you're eating whole foods, you are going to be more in tune with that. Now, I haven't completely cut refined sugar out. I do enjoy some organic raw cane sugar in a smoothie if it's not sweet enough. And so that would be ideal for using cane sugar, is when something isn't sweet enough for your palate. My palate likes things to be sweet but not too sweet, but I have trouble eating something if it's not sweet enough. So adding sugar there, or eating more dates, or having more dried fruit, that seems to be my jam. Is I really enjoy having dried fruit every day for the caloric density, for the sugar hit. It's very satisfying. And I talked about how I recently tried eating oatmeal for breakfast every day and doing more like starches throughout the day versus just having them at night. And that did not work for me at all. It actually made my energy levels a lot lower. And I think that came down to it just being like complex carbs versus simple carbs. Like fruit is a simple carb. You eat fruit and it takes pretty much nothing to digest it and for your body to get the glucose and to use that glucose to generate energy. The complex carbs, it was just like, I don't know how people are doing it. I just get so tired after I eat starches. And then not only do I get tired after eating the starch, but I don't get any energy from the meal either. So I just feel so much better having fruit, doing raw till 4, a very fruit-based diet. And I believe that really comes down to the fact that biologically we are primates and we're frugivores, and everything about our physiology just resonates with that of a fruit eater. If we were in nature, we would be attracted to the colors of fruit. We don't need to cook fruit, we just eat it like it's just ready from nature for our bellies. Okay, so the other question that I had was in regards to bread. It was like sourdough bread from whole wheat flour for weight loss. So again, I'm just going to say here that in my experience, weight loss can happen from a few factors, but it primarily depends on what you're eating. But if you're doing a lot of exercise and you're eating your whole foods and you're satisfied from them and you still want to have your bread at dinner at night, that's fine. Especially like a sourdough, homemade, whatever. I personally don't really care for bread anymore. And I find it to not be satiating at all. It just is really light and airy and kind of dissolves in your mouth, and that's the end of it. So I wouldn't make a meal out of bread. I just have it as a snack or a treat or whatever. And if you're finding that you're having trouble losing weight and you're eating the bread, try cutting it out. Unfortunately, bread is really highly processed. You're taking the wheat seed, because wheat is like a seed and it grows in a big field, and the cultivator comes through and gets it all, and then it gets ground up into flour and then made into products, whether that's pasta or bread or whatever. If you went out to the field and try to eat the wheat straight up, I think you'd probably break your teeth because they're like seeds. Really hard to eat like that. And some people have issues with gluten. Sourdough, you're not going to have that problem because it's fermented. But yeah, so I think it's really important to think about those things when it comes to your food. What went into the creation of this food? Would I find this in nature? like, would I eat this if I found it in nature? And that's my big dilemma with like mushrooms, because whenever I see a mushroom like growing out of the ground, I'm like, ugh, like it makes my stomach turn, you know? I'm like, oh, this is gross. But then I enjoy eating like mushrooms that I buy from the store, so I'm like, the cognitive dissonance with that is real. But what I'm trying to say is like applying that to, you know, the foods that you're eating, like thinking about like, what is the process that it took for it to get here, and you know, clarifying from there if it's something that you should be eating. So anyways, I don't want to make this video too long. Sorry I didn't get too specific about the questions of the videos, but this video, you know, is talking basically about, you know, weight loss and everything, and basically whole foods versus refined foods. But I found the most success for myself eating a high fruit, mainly whole foods, plant-based, vegan, low-fat, high-carb diet. You got to figure out what works best for you. If you want my help, you can sign up for my coaching group. I'll leave the link in the description box, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.